Hi everyone, today I'm going to talk about Begode RS, its waterproofing and improvements, and I'm gonna start with the hollow motor, which you may already know has a lot of problems with these big expensive bearings, because there is a big hole here between the bearing and the cover, and all dirt and shit goes inside, and the bearing dies very fast. In this motor, it was dead after 100 kilometers of run. Then the bearing was replaced, and it ran also about 100 kilometers, but with the sealers. So sealer was of this type. It has a crease inside of it to prevent water leakage inside, and also on the outer side. And right now I will show you the video which I recorded on my cell phone during the disassembly of this motor, so you will understand why I didn't like those type of sealers. So you see the motor is really dirty, the loop got out of the sealer. So now I'm taking a business card and putting into the gap between the sealer and cover. So you see it's done really easy. I think the sheet goes inside and gathers there. So here I've removed the sealer, and we can see now that the lube inside is of really dirty color. It's gray, but it has to be of blue color originally. So I'm sure that some sheet went inside of this gap between the sealer and the cover and spoiled the lube. So on the other side the loop seems to be okay, it didn't change the color, but what I didn't really like about this sealers is that there is a really big round scratch. I guess it was done by the sand particle which was trapped in that gap between the cover and the sealer. So now I'm taking the toothpick. You see it nearly drops inside, it looks really awful. So like this around the whole motor cover. So as you have seen, there are a lot of scratches here. There is a big deep scratch on this cover. I've already painted it to prevent it from corrosion and to have a better look. Also there is a new sealer installed here like this. The other thing I didn't like about those sealers, that everything is dirty on the outer side of the cover. So grease goes outside, and of course the dust is gathered on this grease, and it's really dirty, and the look it's really shitty. I don't know how this sealers is called and who is the author, but as far as I heard, those are Ukrainians type. The guy who installed them told me that. But yeah, anyway, I will replace it with this type of sealer. I will make an instruction for you how to install it, where to buy it. I think this is much better than that ones, and your motor will be always clean and shiny. And of course, before the motor assembly, I put lacquer on this side of the cover to prevent the corrosion if the road reagents will come inside. Also I have created a gasket for this cover to make the motor disassembly really easy, and as well I covered the stator with the lacquer to prevent the corrosion. I will leave the Telegram nickname of the guy who prints these sealers in the description of this video, so if you like this type of sealers you can contact him and order them for you. So speaking about the installation of the sealers, they have the plain side on one side of the sealer, and the other side is with the borders. There are 4 borders on this side, so it has to be installed like this. So the plain side goes to the cover and the border side goes to the bearing. So when the cover rotates, the sealer rotates with the cover and slips over the bearing. So before the installation of the sealer you have to apply some grease here to make it slip over the bearing easily. So there are 2 types of this sealer installation. Of course both of them require the motor disassembly, because when the stator is here, you won't be able to put the sealer inside of this hole between the bearing and the cover. So the first type of installation is when it is necessary to change the bearings. For example, your stock bearings are dead, so you press out the dead bearing, put the sealer inside, put some grease over the sealer, and press the new bearing inside. So that's it. That's a really easy process. And the other type of installation is when you have your bearings working normally, like I have. They have been replaced, they work, and I do not need to press out and press in them once again. So I will put the sealer right in this hole, but there are some issues with that. So if you are trying to put it inside and it doesn't go in, you do not have to push it harder, because you can damage the sealer and it will lose all its qualities. What you have to do is that to take a sharp knife and to cut two of the outer borders of the sealer, and then it will go inside really easy. So my case is like this. It doesn't go inside without cutting these borders, and right now I will show on the video the process of the installation of the sealer with cutting those outer borders and putting it inside. That's how the process of sealer installation without bearing removal looks like. You see that there is nothing complicated. I just cut off the outer borders of the sealer, put some grease, and inserted the sealer on its place gently without any deformation, so it has installed really easily. Yeah, this is the dirty process because your hands will be in grease, and some of the grease will go on the cover, but it's really easy to remove, so there is no problem in such installation. That's how it looks like. So I've disassembled the wheel inner shell, and I found that there are unnecessary areas here, on that side as well, and on the other part of the shell there is the same picture. So these areas will gather sand, dirt and shit, and after some time of riding you will get like 2 extra kilos to the weight of the wheel, which will ride with you. So I don't like this, and now I'm going to create a form from a cardboard here and then cover it with the sealant to prevent these holes working as sheet gatherers. That's the way I've covered all the unnecessary holes in the inner shell, which will gather sand, sheet, dirt, and eventually this will result in the wheel's weight growth, which is definitely undesirable since this wheel is the heavy wheel out of the box. This wheel had come over the process of waterproofing before me, but the previous guy who did that left some devices untouched. Of course, he covered the main board of the controller with the special compound. As well, he covered the entrances of cables for front and back LED strips. But for example, what you see here is the device which has the RS logo, which is glowing red, and the beeper. So here I've already removed a piece of white plastic, which is definitely here for the light distribution, and you can see there is a small LED board here, so I've covered it with the lacquer for circuit boards. Also I've covered these contacts on the beeper with the lacquer, so now I am sure that if any moisture or water will come in, it won't damage these components. I've unscrewed the Bluetooth speakers and was very surprised how they are done. They look really waterproofing. So here is the sealant, and on the power cable entrance is the sealant as well. So I don't see any really necessity to do something with this device. I will put it back. So this was a real surprise for me that it's done so well from the factory. I've added a sealant to these holes where the cables going from one side of the inner shell to the other one to prevent any water leakage from the upper parts of this case. Also, I've drilled a small hole inside of the wheel well at the end of this trolley handle holders. Because it is obvious that the water will come inside this part of the trolley handle and will gather somewhere there. So it is necessary to make a drain to let the water go out of the wheel. Also, I've improved a little bit the electrical part of the wheel. You see here is the fuse which I installed between the battery and the controller. And also I've added a fuse to the charging circuit and the Schottky diode. What is it for? You may know that Begode or Gateway wheels have always constant voltage on their charge ports, which for example you can see when you turn in the charger without connecting it to the wall socket. It gives you a big spark. So I'm pretty sure that it is not really safe to have such a big voltage on the port all the time. So this diode fixes this problem. It allows the wheel to get energy from the charger via the charging port during the charging process, but it doesn't let the current flow to outside of the wheel. So that's how I've made this wheel much more safer in the daily usage. For those of you who are still here, I have a small life hack as a bonus. So this is the life hack how to connect your battery to the controller when all the capacitors are discharged without any sparks and problems. So you may know that when you do the maintenance to the wheel, then reconnect the battery, it gives a big sparks and bad sound. So I really don't like that, and this is how you can avoid this. So this is a standard bulb. I've soldered it into the plus wire with the help of the extra XT60 connectors, and now it is connected from one side to the battery, and I'm going to connect it to the controllers and show you how it works. So the procedure is like this. The bulb blinks, that means the capacitors have been charged, and then you can disconnect the bulb and connect the battery to the controller without it. So let's have a look how this process looks like. So now I've turned off all the light, so you may see it's blinking. So now I'm connecting it to the controller. So you've seen it blinked a little bit. So now I turn on the light back and remove the bulb. So now it has been connected without any sparks or problems. You see, this is a very cool way to connect the battery to the controller. So now that's all about the improvements of this wheel. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to the channel.